It's a huge day, a huge event. There's so much to play for. Obviously, this tremendous championship itself, and also the Ryder Cup with all the massive permutations we've got regarding that. Down the range here, it's really interesting. Inci, a lot of players just going through their sort of pre-tournament routines. What really can they learn on a Wednesday?
A lot, really. I mean, there's a lot going on, isn't there? We've got the tour trucks all around. We've got the spectators that very much have the front seat. Definitely can keep an eye out on some interesting rehearsals and swings as well. We've got Alex Noren here. Go and give us a smile, working on, well, exaggerates his drills as well, doesn't he?
Well, let's have a look at Alex if we can, just see what he does and how he goes through it. It's quite a rigmarole, almost contorted.
Absolutely stripes it. I mean, just absolutely squeezing that one, working it left to right. Worked with Matt Belsham quite a few years ago. Had a little bit of a break, now back together. Keeping an eye on, of course, got the launch monitor out as well. You
mentioned the tour trucks. Is there any chance that players at an event like this would put a new club in the bag, or just stick with what the familiar 14-club setup that they've got?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Wednesday, a pro-am, and even a Tuesday, it's an opportunity to try different equipments out, try different grinds, especially on the wedges. Maybe take the 3-iron out and put a hybrid, or play around with the 7-wood. Who knows? In these tour trucks, it's quite incredible. The facility, the type of equipment you can get your hands on, it's actually mind-boggling if anyone's lucky enough to go in there one day.
Never seen this before. Max Kiefer has got, well, I've seen it before, and a wing for when I took the kids swimming, but I've not seen a golfer employ this kind of strategy. What's all this about?
I was going to say, clearly not a very good swimmer, but yeah, straps this onto the right side of his hip, has done this for multiple years. Very much straps it on the right side, just working on getting that right elbow closer to his body and in front of him. And of course, 2 weeks ago, sorry, not 2 weeks, for 2 weeks, the Canaries absolutely striped it. And that's another one, just exaggerating the movement in the drills again.
He certainly did. He was runner-up, back-to-back runner-up place finishes over there in Austria, and in the Loppeson in Gran Canaria. Went to a couple of South Africans together, all sort of hanging around. It's tough for the spectators actually to see. This is a notorious event for this, of course, because family members, crowd, coaches, all that in and around the players, keeping an eye on them, keeping in here. So
very much the front row seat, isn't it? I mean, how often can you come here and watch some of the best players, if not your favourite players, out on the driving range, working on their games? And also we can have a bit of an inside scoop to who their team is, which has grown now COVID has eased and released a bit more. So back in, I don't know, let's rewind 4 or 5 months ago, you couldn't really bring anyone to tournaments, but now we're seeing more coaches out here, maybe the physios, partners, all sorts. The team is getting bigger out on the driving range.
Great to see some of these protocols starting to dwindle and diminish. Just make sure Dunny doesn't trip over a golf bag. One of the things I noticed that this part of the driving range hasn't been cut. Obviously up there inside the rope's been cut. Why do you think that will be?
Yeah, so it's cut in a slight angle, a bit of a curve, and so we've got obviously yardages out there. 50 is the first target, and as so that curve comes around, that will get cut back, further back as the week goes on, just so we can adapt to those yardages as the week goes on.
Yeah, so basically every sort of the middle of that line of ropes from in that point there is 50 yards. Just behind us, of course, is Bernd Wiesberger. He's one of these players right on that cusp. How can he concentrate on his event, this day-to-day basis, with the prospect of pegging up in your first Ryder Cup in mind? How difficult is that for him?
I guess the obvious answer is that you've just got to focus on this week and not really think about it, which would be hard to do because everyone's talking about it. I mean, he's already had 8 European Tour wins, and he's a class act and giving us a bit of a look. But yeah, you've just got to very much focus on this week. There's nothing else you can do. A bit like Salem Cup last week. What can you do to win is to focus on that match alone. And it's a similar sort of mindset.
He knows he's got the game, there's no doubt about that, isn't he? I mean, the third most winningest professional on the European Tour with 8 since 2012. The other two are, of course, DJ and Rory McIlroy himself. So incredible company to take. Now, what is it like, though? You're trying to focus on your job, this fantastic event that you've got ahead of you, but you've got to play with the amateurs the day before.
Yeah,
what's that like?
I think it very much depends what type of professional you are. Some amateurs love to pick the professionals' brains. Can you read my part? What would you do here? and very much wants as much advice as possible. Some pros very much go about pro-ams and working on their games and preparing for the tournament week ahead. So yeah, you do have a real mixture for sure. I mean, you've played in a few pro-ams yourself. What's your take on it? Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I love it. I got a little bit fed up with the question, what's the red dot? What does the red dot mean? You get asked that one. What does the yellow one mean? What club are you hitting? That was the one I always quite like. What club are you hitting? Because the amateur always wanted out one less.
But that's the thing, though, isn't
one less with the pro.
The opportunity of a pro-am is to go out there, prepare for the golf course, you know, open that yardage book. And I'm just seeing over to my right here, Ebony. I was looking forward to seeing her out on the golf course. Absolutely, you know, cricket broadcaster, played in the World Cup, and now. Let's see the swing, Ebs. Well, hey! No one saw it, trust me.
Little bit of a dangerous group,
nice.
This, isn't it?
Thin to win. Yeah, very good, thank you. Hey, Iron. Well, we could probably keep an eye on owners as well.
Do you reckon?
I reckon so. This is Girl Gang, isn't it? You playing with Sophie Powell, is that correct?
We're in an all-girls, all-star team.
Okay, tell us about your day. I mean, what do you have lined up?
Well, what do we have lined up? Well, it's yet to be revealed, but we've got a girls team. We've got Sophie Powell leading the way. She's our pro and she's representing the Rose Lady Series. So it's quite exciting, actually, to be honest. We've got the only all-girl team in the field, and that in itself feels like a bit of a win. So, you know, Ailey Barber from the BBC, Ebony, cricket legend and commentator for Sky, and I'm coming up at the back, so it should be good. It should be
strong hat game today, I must admit. What made you choose this one?
Yeah, there was a choice of 3, and ultimately it was the most popular vote.
And have you played much golf with these ladies before?
I'm more or less a professional pro-ammer with Ailey. I don't play in a pro-am unless she's in the team. And so, yeah, I've played with Ailey. I've never played with Ebony. I'm looking forward to it very much. We've cycled. Okay. We've done a lot of cycling together. I think everyone in this team plays a lot more golf than I do, so I'm hoping they'll teach me a thing or two.
Oh, great stuff. Thank you very much. Enjoy your pro-am day.
Are you going to hit any, or are you just going to talk?
No, I'm just going to talk. I'm a professional player, so...
Let's have a little walk a little bit further down the range. Let's
we'll
see
you later.
If we can see anybody
see you
interesting.
Later. We'll see you out there.
If we can get down to Lee Westwood's probably about 10 yards further back, it'd be interesting to see what he's working on. Getting into a much tighter space here. There's not a lot of room, is there? It gets quite close. I always found it got really close. Trying to swing when there's not a lot of room to swing a golf club in was even quite challenging as well. If you just move over into the corner, maybe get a chance to just come this way, Danny. I think if we can.
It's a bit like doing the limbo, isn't it?
Just interesting here to see what Lee Westwood's working with there with the mirror and the angles. What do you think about that, Inci?
I mean, you've got to be very precise, don't you? I mean, that's, I'd imagine, an adaptable drill that you can set up to your needs. Westwood working on his driver there. Let's have a look at this one, pegging it up. I'd imagine working on swing plane on the way back and through.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, though? I mean, he's obviously always been one of the best at doing that. Maybe that's why he's continuing to practice like something like this. But you'd also maybe sort of think he actually, out of all the players, didn't really need to do that.
Standing directly behind it, that one in the back right corner looks very, very tight. Really trying to take it on the inside, maybe trying to encourage it more so. Do you reckon you could do that?
It's fantastic, isn't it? Great little things that you can use to help your golf swing to adapt. They've got the magnificent Players Lounge over there, expanded it down over there onto the right-hand side, the Caddies Lounge, because obviously it's a hugely integral part in top performance. There's good Danny Willett there, past champion, a Masters champion.
How about that for an alignment rod? You can't get that perpendicular angle wrong, can you?
Oh goodness! Look, he's got 4 bits of rods down there. He's got one for the follow through, one for the backswing, one for the downswing, one for his feet. Do you think if he closes his eyes out in the golf course, he sees those things?
Well, perhaps. I guess that's what you're practicing, isn't it? That's why we practice hard, just instilling those movements so we're comfortable out there in the real thing. A
little bit of a wind off the left-hand side. I don't have any flags out there, but for right-handed golfers, they don't really sort of like that too much, do they?
No, I guess not. Personally, I've always liked a downwind because then you can't hit a shot. Whenever the wind's into your face, that's when we see the balls absolutely spraying all over the place, which might not fill you with utter confidence before a tournament round.
Also got a launch monitor out here. They've all got launch monitors, very, very technical with their golf swings, throw out a template over it, but they know when they deviate from that template. If we look in the distance there, it's past the head. They've even got a players' gym here this week. I've never seen a players' gym so close to the practice ground, but now, of course, players are turning up, doing their workout straight there, maybe going having a quick shower and arriving back straight on the driving range. It's one of the best practice facilities on the European Tour, and these players are certainly making a fantastic attempt at getting the most out of their game just before they take part in this massive event.
Absolutely. I mean, they're very lucky that that gym travels around on the tour with them, and that's the thing, I think. If you rewind maybe 10, 15, 20 years, golfers weren't maybe considered as athletes, but now they really, really are. These are modern class athletes. Golfers are swinging with an enormous amount of speed, working on their explosive power. So you have a lot of guys there, probably not overloading in load and resistance training, but they're working on speed. So it might be lots of resistant band work, maybe even light, what's that thing called? Like the hex bar and stuff like that, just to kind of fire up those muscles that they need in the golf swing. And
also cooling down and stretching at the end.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic setup. It is one of the best in the world. We've got a great week ahead of us. We're thoroughly looking forward to it, and that's what it's like down here in the range.